The French Bulldog, a breed as beautiful as they are hypnotic, captivating the hearts and minds of so many people. This little dog breed is a worldwide sensation, and for over a century has been greatly enhancing the lives of their owners through their companionship, affection, and humor. Yet bizarrely, today they are being hunted by those who seek their extinction.
The second threat comes in the form of a potential ban on brachycephalic breeds. This idea is being pushed by people who masquerade under the guise of animal welfare activists, claiming that it is cruel to breed dogs such as French Bulldogs, Pugs and English Bulldogs because of their anatomical makeup, which they claim makes them sick, can't function and can't breathe. When I consider my own French Bulldogs and my friends' dogs, they are healthy, happy, active dogs that can breed perfectly. In recent times, there has been more and more BOAS and health testing taking place, and the results are excellent. This tells us that the people who own these dogs need to be encouraged and supported, rather than being impeded in any way. If these so-called activists had genuine concern for animal welfare, they would not present an oversimplistic approach, which is to just give up on these incredible dog breeds. This idea of an extinction sentence in itself should be alarming. So rather than being a helpful part of the solution to improve the quality of these dogs, instead they push for the complete destruction of these beautiful breeds. Sadly, there is a lot of animal cruelty and neglect that goes on in the world. So why is it that they're not working on helping animals in those areas? Instead, they go after well-kept dogs that are living happy, healthy lives and enhance the lives of their owners. If policymakers and politicians believe the agenda of these people, it could be disastrous, not just for brachy breeds, but all purebred dogs could be under threat, because who knows which breeds will be next.
I'm against banning the breed. The initial goal of these animal rights organization was to, stop the French Bulldog from being bred. But the only thing is that they forgot is that they were targeting people who are visual. They have a club side, you have the kennel club. On the club side, you have all the breeders. So they were visual, they were easy targets. But the whole grey market around it, they didn't touch, and they also don't reach because there's no regulations for them. The situation, what happened in the Netherlands is the kennel club really was not on top of the topic enough at that point. And it's not that they took the decision, but the government took the decision for them. And so they had to oblige to a law. So it passed. And to change a law back to its original state or to erase it, it's very, very hard. Now in the Netherlands, there's a new committee, and the committee is quite active, very active, and they are trying to changing it around and working around this law by having a certain test. And if you comply to this test, you can start getting your registration papers again. In an ideal world, I think it would be nice that everybody could make their own decision. I think this was the case in the 80s and in the 90s, and I think it went quite well. The only problem is, since that everything is being non-regulated or not being enforced or not being checked, the problem started. And I really would be very happy if we would bring this back in, that you cannot just have people being backyard breeders, but you need to do a course. You have to prove that you're able, and that you have the space, that you have the knowledge, and that you also have the time to take care of your dogs and do it properly. And I think this is very important. I mean that not everybody can do a certain job well. The same applies to being a breeder. You have to be very selective. You have to be selective in your breeding program, but you also have to be selective in the program of who are your breeders. I think this should be regulated per country.
While some marvel at humanity's ability to shape dogs into the purebred companions we cherish today, others find the concept perplexing. Yet, promoting purebred dog breeds is essential to canine welfare, as it allows us to select dogs that align with our personality, needs, and lifestyle. This dramatically increases the chances of dogs living joyful, fulfilling lives, deeply bonded with their human companions. It's not about disregarding crossbreed dogs, but about ensuring every puppy is born with the best chance for a happy and meaningful life, ideally thriving in a home where they are deeply loved as a family member. Canine welfare is often divided into two categories, a division that may serve to distract from the monumental failures of certain groups, politicians, policymakers, and animal rights organizations. These failures stem from mismanagement of dog welfare issues, primarily due to their inability to address the root causes, along with a lack of proper public education. The first category encompasses neglect, abuse, and puppy farms, where some of the most appalling failures lie. The second focuses on breeds supposedly suffering due to physical traits like flat faces, often leading to the inaccurate conclusion that these animals cannot breathe properly, often illustrated by comparing the shape of a French Bulldog to that of a wolf, further highlighting the point that the concept of purebred dogs has been missed completely. Astonishingly, groups do exist who intentionally breed dogs to such extreme physical traits that it does interfere with the quality of the dog's life. Whereas this is not the case when we consider the standard French Bulldog, where ethical breeders pursue moderation, health, and functionality. Sadly, there are events held which celebrate extremes in breeding. These events, however, must not be confused with legitimate kennel club shows. Some hold the false assumption that dog shows are merely beauty contests, when in truth, they can represent the pinnacle of canine care. Despite this, potential bans and restrictions, coupled with the actions of animal rights organizations, fail to target these unethical breeders. Instead, their appalling practices persist, while ethically bred French Bulldogs are unjustly singled out. It is becoming increasingly evident that some activists are targeting the wrong breeders, the wrong dogs, and the wrong issues, perhaps as an attempt to divert attention from their own continuous failures, as widespread cruelty toward dogs continues. This underscores the critical importance of adhering to breed standards while supporting breeders who strive to align with them. Pushing for bans or restrictions, such as prohibiting brachycephalic breeds from competing at exhibitions, reflects a pursuit of mediocrity and poor quality rather than excellence in dog welfare. Should these bans proceed, activists and politicians may claim victory for preventing the breeding of flat-faced dogs. However, the general public, unaware of the underlying facts, could be misled into believing these measures are beneficial. In truth, they may ignite a welfare crisis by shrinking the gene pool to include only poor quality specimens. In all dog breeds, we must strive for excellence, for anything less may inadvertently foster cruelty.
People who are pushing for these bans engage in incongruous behaviour, and their agenda is very suspicious. For example, rather than encouraging health testing and complementing the great health results that breeders are achieving with their dogs, they attend prestigious shows where respectable breeders are showing their health-tested dogs, which are often certified to be clear of any breeding difficulties, and they interfere and complain about them for silly reasons, instead of going after the criminal activity and puppy farmers who are in fact harming dogs. The reason is because this has nothing to do with animal welfare. When organisations and groups push for their agenda, we must always question their motives, because anything taken to extreme can become cultish and harmful. This is where we must evaluate human psychology. Cognitive bias could also be at play, whereby the brain simplifies information based on experiences and personal preferences. So this confirms pre-existing beliefs. Also, motivated perception is when a person's desires shapes their perception. Essentially, they see what they want to see. So they may see the flat face, which to them means it's unhealthy. And that's all they see, without understanding the whole dog, which can in fact be a happy, healthy specimen. This is why health testing, where the dog is handed over to a good vet and non-biased experts, are so important. The outcome should be closer to the reality. If a ban did come into place, the respectable people who tend to follow rules would stop breeding dogs. But the breeders that produce the worst examples out there, they don't care about rules, and they will continue to breed their dogs. So all that will happen is that the top healthy specimens will no longer exist, and the unhealthy dogs bred by bad breeders will remain and will eventually take over as the main gene pool. All dog breeds have some health problems, and unhealthy French Bulldogs do exist. When you buy a puppy, you're not buying an object like a car. You are getting a living animal which is susceptible to many external factors, and you are dealing with genes that predate the existence of the breeder. But you can recognise a good breeder because they test for known issues and work to try to reduce the likelihood of them reoccurring in future generations.
My name is Peter. I'm living here in Austria. I'm an FCI dog judge and my profession is lawyer. I'm with dogs within FCI world since 30 years now. To understand what's happening to the brachycephalic breed in general and especially to the French Bulldog in Austria and also in whole Europe, I think it's necessary to keep a focus on the Austrian history of the now existent animal welfare law. This animal welfare law was introduced in 2006, and with this law there came the term Qualzucht, torture breed. A terrible word, and even the government did not know what is meant with Qualzucht, with torture breed. So they asked the Austrian Kennel Club to develop measures to be taken to prevent torture breed signs in dog breeds. The government gave them 10 years to improve their breeds. Within those 10 years, any breeder within the Austrian Kennel Club had to breed with these breeding rules. The outside breeders don't. They did nothing. Dogs bred within the Austrian Kennel Clubs are about 10% of the whole dog population in Austria. But all the measures taken by the government hit the breeders and the Austrian Kennel Club with full force. Why? First of all, the Austrian Kennel Club did not communicate well that the breeders within the Kennel Club took all measures for decades, if you consider HD, or even for more than 15 years, if you consider patellar examination in French Bulldogs. Since more than 10 years, we have the stress test for all brachycephalic breeds, Pugs, French Bulldogs, Boston Terrier, to show that those dogs can breathe, can run, and are healthy. And many other measures have been taken, but they did not acknowledge this. They did not trust the Austrian Kennel Club because the Austrian Kennel Club did not communicate well that the problem concerning dog welfare is a problem everywhere, but especially is a problem concerning dogs bred outside the FCI. Dogs which are from puppy mills, we all know that. Breeding rules are stricter in Austria than nearly anywhere in the world. The authorities really chase Austrian breeders within the FCI, and that was really surprising for all people. Because I myself thought that the measures taken the last 10 years would be enough to not be hunted by the government. I've been proved wrong, as well as the Austrian Kennel Club. But for the puppy mill producers, this is not the problem, because if the dog does not fulfill all requirements, it's replaced by another dog, as we know. That's a complete different thing to dog lovers as we are, having a few dogs which are sitting on the couch, and even some of us have them in bed. So the future of the breed in Austria is quite uncertain. French Bulldogs at the moment hardly can be shown, because the requirements you need to show a French Bulldog are the same you need to breed the French Bulldog. Even if you show the dog in young classes, the dog has to fulfill all breeding requirements, or the parents of the dog have to fulfill all breeding requirements. That's the big issue with the gene pool, of course, because imports are hardly possible at the moment now in Austria. You're not just forbidden to show, you will be punished if you try to show, even if you have all examinations of your dog. We have many cases at the courts right now.
We breeders in the Kennel Club have to do a lot of things to get those Frenchies we want, the functional, healthy family dogs. We make a breeding exam, it's called Belastungstest. We have to go to the vet with our Frenchies. They have to run 1 kilometer under 10 minutes. The vet measures the temperature, the heart rate, the breathing rate, and after that we return to the vet's office and we measure everything again. So we see how fast the Frenchie can recover and how fit the Frenchie is and what his health condition is. We do this over 10 years now. And we also have to do a lot of other things. We make the spine X-ray and we discuss it with the veterinarian who is also expert for the brachybreds. We make a heart ultrasound. We do the patella testing. We make DNA tests for cystinuri, for hereditary cataract, for degenerative neuropathy, and so on. And now we also do the BOAS testing. All the Frenchies, the breeding Frenchies tested now are BOAS free. So we see that this breeding test, this breeding exam we did, worked very well. Nevertheless, the animal welfare activists claim us that not to have done anything the last 10 years, but that's not true. We all have to stand together and fight for our Frenchies and for our purebred dogs. At least they do not want us to have any purebred dogs. It will affect also other breeds because they think the mixed breeds are the most healthy dogs you can buy. But as we all know, this is not true.
We have to show the people, not just saying that our dogs are healthy. The system of BOAS examination is a game changer for me because if and the dog shows no signs is a BOAS 0 or BOAS 1, not any government, not any authority can tell me that the dog cannot breathe. I think that's the first great step into the future for the French Bulldog and all Brachis. And we saw that already. We saw that the authorities acknowledged that there's a game changer having come. They do not change their mind about the breed. This is a pity, but they see that our breeds are not struggling to breathe if we do the BOAS examinations and if we breed dogs due to the Cambridge system. I think this is a very important step towards the future. If we ourselves, dog judges, dog breeders, French Bulldog fanciers, force our breed clubs, our kennel clubs to make rules strict for all, then we have an argument before the FCI, and if the FCI will follow, the FCI has a strong argument to animal activists to show them, to tell them that our dogs can go in a bright future, that our dogs are not a sick, crippled breed. And as we saw from Norway concerning the BOAS test, this was the game changer for the Bulldog because the breeding of Bulldogs was forbidden. But the courts acknowledged that throughout 3 years of BOAS testing, more than 86% of the dogs had the result BOAS 0 or 1. So they mainly had no breathing problem. Of course, there are other problems in any breed, as well as in the French Bulldogs, and there are other examinations that should be done. It's the same with BOAS. If we implement it in our breeding programs and if we strictly breed with those examinations, then we have a good argument to go into the future to tell them this what you say is not the truth. Our dogs are not sick, and they aren't. Any judge who judges throughout Europe sees that more than 95% shown have no health issue visibly seen by us judges. Telling this alone is not enough. It's necessary to prove it, and that only can be done with breeding rules who are strict. And those strict breeding rules are help us and not our enemies, I think. And of course, they make the big difference between FCI bred, purebred dogs and dogs bred outside the FCI. So I think this is the way to go into the future, just with the best possible dog. We all have sometimes tears in our eyes when we have to put dogs out of the breeding programs, but breeding means selection, and that's the hard way to go, but I think the only way to go into the future with our beloved French Bulldog.
The third threat to the French Bulldog is misinformation, or perhaps even disinformation, where false information is being intentionally put out there to influence policymakers and the general public.
French Bulldogs come in a variety of coat types, including fluffy, hairless, wire coat. And herein lies another issue which promotes misinformation, which comes from the misuse of AI. While content creators may lack expertise within a specific subject, they can utilize artificial intelligence technologies to create and publish a high-ranking video within minutes. They simply type in the subject they wish to create a video about. AI will do the rest, generating content in any language while doing the graphics, voiceover, and editing it all into a captivating video. While this tool is valuable for content creators, it raises the question, does it deprive novice viewers of the deeper nuances of human experience that only those with decades of genuine hands-on expertise can truly convey?
In the past, if we had an interest in a dog breed, we would buy a book, and that book would have been written by an expert. But now there is so much content online about the French Bulldog, and sadly most of it is not created by experts. It's created by people who want to get views, so they upload surface information about something they know very little about. Journalists also need to do more research before putting out stories and trick people with nonsense. There was one article about a French Bulldog that apparently killed a woman, but later in the same article they said that it was not a French Bulldog, rather it was a mix, and the photo of the dog in question clearly showed it was not a Frenchie. There is an abundance of articles out there describing problems relating to the French Bulldog, but the dog in question is often not even a purebred dog, so they should not use the name French Bulldog. There are even some vets who do not know fully what is going on within the breed. They do not know that there is the standard French Bulldog, and then there are the non-recognised colours and exaggerated types. The problem with this is their health issues all get grouped together. So if you try to get accurate data, it can be skewed, because these other types of dogs were included in the data, when they should not have been, because they are not standard French Bulldogs. Unfortunately, the general public are content to listen to idiots spew out content and attention-grabbing headlines rather than listening to the real experts.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but a picture can tell 1,000 lies, because what you see and perceive may not be the truth. In this instance, some may only see a dog with a flat face and pinched nostrils, therefore, based on confirmation bias, jump to false conclusions such as, this dog cannot breathe and cannot function properly as a dog should. They may even put their false accusations in writing on social media. This oversimplification can be extremely misleading to the general public and policymakers, while harming the reputation of responsible breeders. People can be blind to the big picture, blind to the truth. In reality, this dog has been extensively health tested with excellent results, including DNA testing, eyes, heart, patella exams, spine X-ray, trachea measurement. She is free from allergies and has no skin issues. The list goes on and on. She also boasts an impressive lineage consisting of health-tested dogs. All of these facts remain unseen to those who glance at a picture and jump to conclusions. While one of the many goals of responsible French Bulldog breeders is to produce open nostrils, it is one health trait among many which are being simultaneously pursued, some of which fall into the category of what is visually unseen. Hence, DNA testing is now becoming the norm. By knowing the many positive attributes this specimen possesses, it is concerning to hear those who choose to focus on a visual trait, which they only see in a picture, and as a result, seek to prevent her existence without knowing the facts. The term, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, springs to mind, because this is a prime example of a fit, functional dog that has a lot to offer the future of the breed, and there are many more excellent examples like her. Not to mention the fact she has a beautiful character and is an adored family member who lives a better quality of life than many humans alive today. Let's see how she does during a veterinary examination and BOAS test.
My name is Ian Finney. I'm a veterinary surgeon in County Dublin. As part of what I work with French Bulldogs, as well as English Bulldogs and Pugs, is I'm a recognised successor for the English Kennel Club and University of Cambridge respiratory functioning grading scheme, and that's what we're going to be seeing today. It's called the BOAS, which is brachycephalic airway obstruction syndrome respiratory function grading scheme. It is quite a simple test that can be done within any veterinary clinic. There's no excessive equipment beyond a stethoscope. It involves a general examination of the dog, any general health queries, to checking, listening to the airways, the heart and the chest before exercise, and then after a 3-minute brisk walk, and seeing if there's any audible changes either with a stethoscope or with your own ears, as well as assessing the nostril tightness as well. It's a simple test to try to give an objective figure to what grade of obstruction your dog is having from his breeding, if any. One of the first things we check are the nostrils. Ideally you would like wider nostrils than very pinched nostrils. So we look at Gucci's, and you actually see her nostrils for a French Bulldog are actually quite open, which is a very positive visual thing to see. It is not only about the nostrils. Having more open nostrils is always pleasant to see, but that is still secondary in importance to the soft palate, traditionally called the elongated soft palate, but better phrased by be hyperplastic because it's both long and thickened in affected individuals. There's some developing breeds that do have a quite wide face and open nostrils, which, while not a negative, they're also bred with quite a short and thick neck, which will still lead to the same soft palate issues often. So they still have breeding issues, just might not be the nose that's causing the issue. It's shown that if a dog is carrying excess weight, which a lot, if not the majority of French Bulldogs are, it puts extra stress on the chest and around the neck as well, which this improves from the breeding point of view for definitely, as well as just a general quality of life. There's no excuse why the dog cannot be a lean dog. Essentially, if they're carrying any excess weight, a modified diet, increases exercise, you generally have a healthier dog. At the moment, I'm trying to listen to what sounds, if any, are in here from his throat. The French Bulldog can normally be listening for a low-pitched noise, would be a loud, low-pitched noise called stressor would be abnormal. But at the moment, there's nothing to hear beyond you would hear in your average dog. And in this case, there's no more noise than there was even before exercise. He's particularly fit, and to me, in my judgment, he's a particularly healthy looking French Bulldog as well. He would be, for the BOAS respiratory grading, he would be a grade 0, which is the best result possible. We can see that her respiration rate looks very, very normal. Nothing extreme, and you can hear no sounds from the outside as well. There's effectively nothing audible again from the breeding, so she would be also
Grade Zero, she's also another very nice example of a French Bulldog. And normal breeding patterns for moderate exercise. She's not even panting. She should also be a Grade Zero.
From time to time, it can be pleasant to reminisce. However, there are those who post photographs of dogs of old, from times when breeds were at the early stages of development, maintaining the idea that our dogs' early ancestors were better than the dogs of today. Yet, as we now know, photos can be deceiving. Without the presence of a DeLorean, video or audio, we can only hazard a guess as to their temperament, movement, breathing, and health. While some may dream that dogs of the past were somehow superior, this wishful thinking may be nothing more than an illusion, colored by the power of one's imagination. Therefore, it is of utmost importance that we always keep the future of our beloved breeds firmly in mind.
As a child, I had the pleasure of having one of these charming dogs in my home. Today, when the future of the French Bulldog is discussed, I think it's really important that we preserve this unique breed. It was a wonderful experience having a dog with such a funny and quirky personality that I believe it's really important that we preserve this for future generations to enjoy. This is why when I hear people suggesting to ban the French Bulldog, this makes very little sense. Banning the breed seems like a suggestion from the past, whereas now with scientific advancements, we've never been in such a good position to be able to understand the health potential of breeding dogs. Other than banning them, it has been suggested to mix the French Bulldog with a breed with a longer snout to improve their breeding. However, this of course will create a mixed breed. Mixing breeds would dilute the unique and fundamental characteristics of the French Bulldog. There is a sufficient genetic diversity and healthy specimens that conform to the breed standards that we do not need to rely on intermixing. Science is constantly advancing, and there are now tools available that weren't available a few years ago to ensure the health potential of breeding pairs. So this is now a great time to make sure that we preserve the breed as it is. A simple DNA test can arm breeders with information on the health potential of breeding pairs. This means that a breeder may choose to drop a dog from a breeding program or to choose a different pairing. I believe that two main factors are needed to improve the breed. So firstly, it's people with a passion for the breed, and also time, because it takes generations to make improvements. So passionate breeders are really important to the future of the French Bulldog, and not people that are suggesting quick solutions or looking for quick money. Furthermore, breeders are no longer limited to a local gene pool. It is now possible to ship frozen genetic material for assisted reproduction, meaning that you can choose top health tested stud dogs from around the world. However, caution is warranted to not overuse the same bloodlines and champion dogs. This is based on a judge's opinion, which is inherently subjective. Instead, breeders should critically assess each breeding pair. This is where it's very beneficial that French Bulldogs are very popular, so there are plenty of healthy specimens to choose from. Once breeders understand the data, then they can make informed and responsible decisions. This is how, for decades, dog breeding was an art. Now, ethical breeders can make their decisions based on science first, and then the art of creating the best specimen comes afterwards. So now, armed with the tools that are available, the future of the French Bulldog and other brachycephalic breeds such as the Pug or English Bulldog is looking bright.
The French Bulldog should be active. It has to be capable to move. Our dogs, they are muscular because we are walking several kilometers per day in a leash. We can do even almost 20 kilometers per day by walking. They have a proper exercise, and then of course one thing is very important is nutrition, that you have to have a proper nutrition when you are exercising your dogs, that then they get the muscles, that they are not too skinny and too thin, and then also they can be mentally healthy as well when you spend a lot of time with them. With the responsible breeding, we want to avoid all the unnecessary issues and diseases, and with the registered and ethical breeding we can do that. And currently for our own breeding we do the mandatory tests which are required in Finland. They are complete spine X-ray, including VA, spondylosis, IDD and LTV. Additional to spine, we have to have a heart check. Eyes has to be checked as well, the patellas, and that has to be tested for BOAS, which means the breathing test. And those are the mandatory, and we have been doing that now several years in Finland. We have to work hard to get the people understand that responsible breeding can also produce success stories towards the diseases. When things are done correctly, then the breeding is not the issue. The temperament and the character and how they behave, it's something very special. I don't know any other breed which is behaving like a French Bulldog, and they are real family members and they want to participate in everything I'm doing, and I cannot live without them.
In conclusion, we now know the standard French Bulldog can thrive as a healthy and happy dog once health tests are conducted and high standards are maintained within breeding decisions. This underscores the vital role of selective breeding, a practice that ethical breeders around the world have mastered with exceptional dedication. Their passion and meticulous efforts deserve not only recognition, but also unwavering support. Educating the public is paramount in this endeavor, as it shields against the detrimental practices of irresponsible breeders. Through informed choices, those who care for the French Bulldog can enact meaningful change, laying the foundation for a promising future for this extraordinary breed. As it is now understood that brachycephalic dog breeds can breathe normally, and with mindful selective breeding, this will steadily improve. The future promises a healthier generation, free from respiratory challenges, as long as the dedicated efforts of ethical breeders are supported rather than hindered. While strict breeding guidelines are essential to protect, preserve, and promote our beloved breeds, these initiatives must empower ethical breeders in their efforts rather than impede them. It is crucial to remember that for all dog breeds, the sport of dog exhibitions is a celebration of canine health and welfare. The pursuit of excellence in both breeding and exhibitions must remain inviting to new participants, fostering a positive movement toward improved canine morphology, health, and overall welfare, in order to ensure we preserve, protect, and promote our incredible dog breeds. However, we must always ask ourselves, what is the best way forward?
The solution is education. Show dogs represent a tiny percentage of the dog population. So most French Bulldogs are in pet homes, which means it's the pet buyer that fueled the demand. It is the desire of the pet buyer that motivates the bad breeders to set up shop. The general public, the pet buyer, needs to raise their standards in terms of who they choose to buy a dog from. There is a false idea out there which I believe prevents people from doing adequate research on breeders. It's the idea that when you get a puppy at say 12 weeks of age, it's a perfect puppy, a blank slate, ready to be trained by you, but at that age they're not blank slates. Firstly, there's the genetic component which influences their temperament. What are the temperaments of the parents? Then the breeder can influence the shaping of the pup's personality in those early developing weeks through the conditions they were raised in, nutrition, and importantly, how much handling did the pup get? How much exposure to different sounds did the pup experience? These are all important factors, so the breeder actually shapes your pup. I do not mean that everyone should go and get a show dog. That is just not possible. But it is time to wake up. When you assess a breeder, you are buying into their beliefs and their values. So do you support those who destroy dogs or improve dogs? The dog that you have at the end of your lead says a lot about who you support.
I think the French Bulldog is a very clownesque, humoristic, athletic, alert, and diverse breed, which has some human traits, even if you look at them in the face sometimes. And yeah, I think it's our responsibility to protect and preserve this beautiful breed. And everybody should pay attention to that. And well, look at the face.